Hi, hello. I'm Dr. Hawa Charfaray, and I believe I am a woman of purpose. I am a practitioner of transformation, and I also would like to believe myself as someone who's committed to unlocking human potential. My journey spans across continents. Although my base is out in Ras Al Khaimah, and my core focus is that I'm a coach, I'm a leadership developer, I'm an NLP practitioner, and I am a program development officer at Orbrix, where I run all the programs, develop the programs in terms of leadership development, and I enhance organizational health. I look at how to enhance employee engagement within organizations. I'm very passionate about movement, and for me, the only thing that is constant is change. So when we actually look at how do we move people into action, it's about identifying truly what drives them. In other words, if you look at the Japanese concept of ikigai, it's about helping people find what they're truly passionate about, helping people find what they love, and what they're good at, and then helping them find what is it that what they love and what they're good at that the humanity actually need. And when the community needs that, they can then turn that into a business. And that core concept of developing all four items is what make people actually tick, what will make them develop into who they truly are. When you ask me finally, who are you? I would like to say that I don't just teach. I like to feel where people actually say, how are you? Don't just teach me. You've changed my life. I feel now seen. And when people tell you that, then you know that it isn't just a job. Then you know that it is a calling. And that's who I am. What brought me to Ras Al Khaimah? As someone who works internationally, across Africa, Middle East, and also I've been out to USA to do a lot of conferences, and far beyond. RAK actually offers something truly rare. And that what I find in RAK is what I don't find everywhere else, not only in the UAE, but across the globe whenever I travel. And that is peace, it's tranquility. It's a space for me to be able to think far beyond just a job. It allows me to become more creative and innovative in what I want to do. And when I talk about that, those of you who live in RAK and who do business in RAK will know that you can do business from almost anywhere. You can do business from your apartment, which is overlooking a wonderful view. You get the peace, you get the tranquility, but also the rhythm of growth that you find that allows you to grow in that particular space. It doesn't feel overwhelming like when you're living in a city or in a large, and yet the city is just a few minutes away. That peace and tranquility is there. So what brought me here was that peace. It was that tranquility. For me, I'm a serial entrepreneur, so I have my coaching business. I am in partnership on the Orbrix business. I have a business out in South Africa called Training Excellence. But in this peace and tranquility, I found a passion project. And that is something where I invite people to a space. I've started a restaurant in Ras Al Khaimah. RAK has become more than just a base for me. It's become a space where I can live. It's become a space where I can work. It's become my anchoring point for a global mission. And that is something that I want to look at. It's a point of where I actually am able to develop my intentions, develop people around the globe, yet doing it from a space of contentment and peace. What do I like to do here? Even though I'm very busy and I'm out there all the time, just like any good coach would tell you, is that you need to have some downtime. And I always have two traits in my life. One is negotiable, one is non-negotiable. And one of my non-negotiables is taking time out. And when I do that, I love to explore Ras Al Khaimah. I love to explore or just sit alone on the beach and stare into nothingness. It brings calmness. So these are things I enjoy doing. Or going up to Jabal Jais is an example, because Ras Al Khaimah has both the mountain and the sea, and I love both. So for me, I would go out to the beach, have some quiet time, Or I'll take a stroll on at Jebel Jais, sit on the top, have a cup of tea, and overlook the mountains and the scenery, which brings peace and tranquility for me. What I love most about Ras Al Khaimah is the balance that it brings. So I always believe the negotiable and the non-negotiable has to be some form of balance at some point in time. And Ras Al Khaimah brings that for me. It brings that balance. It allows me to work hard, yet have fun hard as well. So it's 100% of work with 100% of fun. Ras Al Khaimah tends to slow me down, especially because I'm so fast in what I do. It slows me down, and that's what I do in Ras Al Khaimah. So Ras Al Khaimah for me, in summary, it's where ideas are born for me. It is where decisions are made, and most importantly, it's where my dreams are being defined. As a woman entrepreneur living in Ras Al Khaimah, I have to say that thinking about where I come from. So when you look at coming from South Africa particularly, I've always valued spaces where women can actually lead, where women are bold, and where women can actually function in a business environment. And when I initially thought about coming to the UAE many years back, and now we're talking about 15 years back, I was unsure whether I would actually get that. But what I find is that RAK actually offers that. It's secure, it's grounded. For me, most importantly, is that it's grounded. It's not about looking at the materialistic view of a country the way many people view the UAE. I find that Ras Al Khaimah in particular is grounded, not just to myself, but to my values. It's grounded in terms of the quietly challenges that we can all rise to. There are challenges. But Ras Al Khaimah allows you to rise over and above that because of the support that you actually get in Ras Al Khaimah, especially as a woman. There are many packages designed particularly for women entrepreneurs to come into Ras Al Khaimah, which I don't believe that many people even know about. So for me, Ras Al Khaimah, it gives me the platform, but the thing is that you must step up to it. Women are given opportunities, but it also lies on you to be able to step up. I've always believed that women can have it all. And again, it comes back to my two traits of negotiable. I believe we can have it all, provided that we know what's negotiable and what's not. The things that are not negotiable, as women here in Ras Al Khaimah, I believe that we need to have a voice to say no, not just in Ras Al Khaimah, but in business in particular. So if there are things that don't align with you, it's okay to walk away from. And I find that it's not just about being in Ras Al Khaimah, it's more about being in business. So you can have it all, provided you know what your boundaries are, and if the things that are negotiable, negotiate it. Ras Al Khaimah offers you an array of business partners. Collaboration is here. It's open for you to collaborate, but collaboration has a very deep meaning for us women. There's a middle part to collaboration. Labor is the middle part of it. Labor means, and those of you who've been through labor know that it's intensive, it's hard work, it's not easy. And in Ras Al Khaimah, we will be afforded the opportunity as women to be able to coordinate with many others. But if you're not ready to work for it, you're not ready to put the effort into it, you'll find you'll work a little and expect things to happen. It's not going to happen. Just like in every other business area, Ras Al Khaimah is exactly the same when it comes to that. It will offer you the opportunities, it will offer you the platform as women, and what you do with it now is labor intensive. Collaboration, partners that you want to work with, people that you want to meet, put the work, put the effort into it. Don't expect too much from them as long as you put your 100%. If they give you and meet your 100%, fantastic. If they don't, then that's on them. You walk away because something new is waiting for you. Empowering women for me is on top of my agenda. It's something I feel strongly about because I know how hard it was for me to grow as a woman. So through my coaching, through my mentorship, I help others within the Ras Al Khaimah community and outside the community to think far beyond what they are doing. And we need to be able to understand that whatever is given to us on a platform, that we do our best. And after that, if it works, fantastic, great, you're off to success. And if it doesn't, it's okay because it was not meant to be. Move on to the next chapter, move on to the next collaboration, move on to the next business entity that you need to. How do I see the future of Ras Al Khaimah? I believe that RAK is emerging as one of the UAE's most conscious, soulful emirate. When I say conscious and soulful, they've become very conscious over what they do, which big projects they take on, how they're actually moving forward as an emirate. Before, if you had to look at RAK was very much there, but it was very quiet. But in the last few years, it has emerged tremendously. Those of you who've been watching what RAK is actually doing. So I believe that RAK will become a very powerful hub for sustainable development. I believe that it will become not just sustainable development, but I think sustainable innovation. It's bringing from all across the globe people to Ras Al Khaimah to develop their businesses. We have various industries here, government organizations that are able to help companies build their businesses. There's one for the technology sector. There's one for generic sector. So from that perspective, I see that lifestyle is going to change. From a very quiet emirate where people would just come for staycations, I believe that it is now become a way of life where it's not only quiet and tranquil, but it will also show a different side where it's transforming. And that side will be in terms of innovation, in terms of sustainability. I believe that the beauty lies in the pace at which Ras Al Khaimah is moving. It's not so fast-paced, but it's moving at a pace that is comfortable for entrepreneurs. It's comfortable for people who just want to retire. And for me, that's the beauty of where Ras Al Khaimah is actually heading. I also believe that it allows leaders to be able to build with intention. So it's not about just scaling with speed. I see its future as bright. I see it as rooted. And for me personally, it's spiritual. So that's where I actually see the future of Ras Al Khaimah going. Professionally, I believe that I wear many hats, several hats, all aligned with one mission though. And that one mission for me is transformation. I serve as an ecometric practitioner and a program developer at a company called Orbrix, Orbrix Technical and Occupational Skills. That is one of the main core hats that I actually offer. And through that, I'm able to develop leadership. I'm able to go into organizations and identify their well-being indicators. In fact, we call them organizational health. I am able to measure employee engagement within organizations. And most importantly, we identify what drives people into action. Because when we're able to identify that, then I can put my next hat on and then coach and mentor leaders how to manage a group of people when you understand what drives them. Because you can't create an environment for people to thrive if you haven't understood what drives them. So my work covers leadership development, it covers emotional intelligence, it covers social intelligence. So those are things that I actually work within organizations, within individuals. So if you have to take a top-down approach, we start with the team right on the top, which is your board level, executive level. We identify the engagement levels at that level. We identify what drives them into action. We identify what's the health indicators. And then we move down to middle level. And then, of course, we move down to the lower level of the organization. But then there's another side where the lower level and right from top down goes across to the other side in their personal lives. Because each of them are leaders in their organizations, but they're also leaders in their home. Whether you're a mom, whether you're a dad, how you communicate with your children is how you normally communicate with people in the organization. It might not come out directly, but it comes out indirectly. And therefore, what I do professionally is to look at both sides, your personal and your work related, and look at how do we grow you so that you can then lead from top down or lead from bottom up. Because a leader isn't just someone who's sitting on the top. A leader could be someone who's sitting right at the bottom of the organization, but might have just said one thing that be able to make a change to someone else in the organization. In terms of coming back to what I do, I'm honored by my entrepreneurial spirit in both my business capacity and my passion project, where I create a space as a restaurant for people to come in and eat. But at the same time, that network of getting to know people better, getting to do my study on how people actually behave, how they react, so that I can help others to be able to become better and help myself to become better as well. So that is what I do professionally. And just to end that off, if you had to consider a computer, and if you load it and install it with a whole lot of programs to function, 9 out of 10 times there are so many programs that we've loaded that does not serve us. So one of the things that I do is I look at what serves you, and we be able to enhance those programs for you. Whatever does not serve you, I help you uninstall, so that when we uninstall it, we replace it with programs that are able to serve you better. And that would become a summary of what I actually do. I believe that I give back to the community what I have learned and what people have given me. And one of the biggest things for me is breaking free. Breaking free from our limited beliefs, breaking free from our limited decisions that we've made, breaking free from our past that we might not have had even anything to do with in the first place, but we carry it along with us. I recently, well, not recently, a while back, spoke on TEDx about the loss is real. And through my own losses, what I've learned is that the loss is not about what we lose, whether it's a loved one, whether it is a business, whether it is money, whether it is the loss of your respect, whatever it is that we lose. I've learned that that is part of the learning. And the loss becomes real when we don't learn. It's not about the loss of what we've lost. It's about the loss of not learning from our experiences. So what I give back to the community is what, through my own experience, when I went through loss, whether it was the loss of my amazing, beautiful children, the loss of my beloved husband, the loss of a financial business that almost crippled me at one stage in life, the loss of a job at one point in my life as well. And what have I learned from that is what I am now teaching in most of my programs. And that's what I'd like to believe is what I'm actually giving back. Where I like to help people uninstall those limiting beliefs, reinstall new things that will allow them to grow. It's about helping parents. Basically, as a parent myself who's been through this, it's about helping parents show up with emotional regulation. Because I never had emotional regulation at some point in my life. I had to learn that. And with that, I am now able to give that to others as well. It's about helping children, for example, take responsibility for their actions and not just put it on past blame to say, well, I am who I am. Even as adults, we grow up. I am who I am because of how I grew up in a home. I too grew up in difficult homes. But the question is, when you become older and you've learned emotional regulation, you're able to leave the emotion behind and take the learning. And that's something that I do through some of the techniques like timeline therapy, taking people back to a certain event, disconnecting that event and emotion where you leave the emotion like anger, hurt, sadness, guilt, fear. Leave the emotion, but take the learning. Leave the emotion, take the learning, until you come back to the now where you've broken the cycle of the emotions, and you might have new emotions as you go along, but then you know what you've learned from the old ones and apply it so it becomes easier. So that is what I believe that I give back to the community, what I give back to people. I create that whether I'm working in a boardroom, or whether I'm working at a conference, or whether I'm just having a chat with somebody over a meal at the Grill House restaurant as an example, I create everything that I speak is about intention. And everything I say is about intention because I've learned to become consciously purposeful in life. And that's what I believe I can give back to the community. How do I actually solve problems for the community or my business at large is I solve problems at the root. I believe that there's nothing just from the surface. When an issue actually happens, it's not about just that issue. When there's conflict, it's not about just what is happening right now between two people. Because however you react to a situation is coming back from deep down inside. Because when you react, you might think it's only about that problem, but it isn't. Because what you're reacting is with a whole lot of knowledge, a whole lot of baggage that you're actually reacting from. So what I do is I help to solve problems at the root. without solving. For example, when people call me in for conflict resolution, it's not about the conflict, it's about the root of where the conflict is actually coming from within an individual. So whether I'm working with a mother, for example, trying to reconnect with her child, whether I'm working with a CEO struggling with team disengagement, I use strategy. I use timeline therapy, for example, for emotional baggage. I use econometric assessments where we go in and assess an organization to see how well they're doing. So a CEO that is actually struggling, to be able to help them through the process by teaching them how to use econometrics, meaning human adaptability to the environment in which they're functioning. So in other words, we look at how people adapt to an environment. If you change an environment and adjust it, like a dolphin who swims very seamless through an ocean, and you take that same dolphin and you put a dolphin, for example, into a swamp, the dolphin might not survive. Likewise, if you take the creatures of the swamp and put them in the ocean, they also might not survive because the environment in which they're functioning doesn't meet who they are and how they grow. So that's what I do to help solve organizations' problems, especially with the CEO struggling with team engagement, is we get them to understand their dolphins, who they are, what do they do, how do they thrive in an organization, and then look at how to create an ocean, which is the environment of the organization, so that that dolphin can swim very seamless, so that they can feel seen, they can feel heard, they can feel understood. This last 2 years, Gallup studies actually shows that engagement levels for the Middle East has gone up to about 28.8%, according to new Gallup studies. What does that mean? More than 70% are not engaged. So what can I do to help that process? So the question, many CEOs, by the way, before I answer that, many CEOs might say, but what is my engagement within my organization? What I do is I'm able to go in and identify that if the Middle East is sitting at 28.8%, then where exactly is your organization? Is your organization higher or lower? I go in, we assess, because Peter Drucker says you can't manage what you have not measured. So we go in, we measure it, we identify where the issues are, and then we look at coaching and mentoring techniques to be able to help the disengaged people to move more onto the engaged side. So that is one of the things that I do. The last thing is the emotional perspective of dealing with people, is when people want to move forward, they can't. Many people can't because they believe they're in a stuck state. And one of the main reasons is they have limiting beliefs. They might have limiting decisions that they've made. They might have emotional trauma and fear, anger, hurt, sadness, or guilt. So what I do is I help them to be able to unlock that so that they can move from a stuck state to then a state of movement. My philosophy is simple. Through one thought that we shift an entire future of an individual. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to do that with many as well. I believe that what is unique about me in terms of my unique selling point, I think a statement right from the beginning would be that I live at the intersection of strategy, of soul, and I think most importantly also science, because there are people who would like to function from strategy and soul, but they feel they don't have anything to back it up. And I believe that through my studies as a neurolinguistic programming practitioner, through my studies as a timeline therapist, through my studies as an econometric practitioner, I found that the science behind it can back up the soul and can back up the strategy that we all want to have. So I believe that combining the strategy, soul, and science is what creates a very unique package to what I can offer others, because I know that doing that is what helped me through many challenges in my life over my, I won't give away my age, but over my decades of life, a lifetime. So I think if I have to break that down into, as an executive coach, I don't just train leaders. I believe that I transform them from within. Because when a leader is transformed from within, instead of only learning the technicalities and the science of the skill of leadership, then they're able to lead with heart and not just with the science of leadership. As an econometric practitioner, I provide evidence-based solutions where we look at Gallup studies, compare that to your organization in terms of what engagement is. So there's an actual tool that I use, a scientific tool that can be done online. And I believe that's unique because there aren't many ecometric practitioners. I've just trained a few ecometric practitioners now so that they can help me along to be able to do more in organizations than just using ordinary tools. So that's the other thing that makes it unique. As an NLP and timeline practitioner, I spoke about is I believe that I can facilitate deep wiring of the subconscious mind because it allows you to go deep down inside, leave the emotions, and come back with the learning and then learn new techniques to be able to overcome new emotions that you might occur. It's a journey that allowed me to really grow from within. And then every day become conscious about it. Every day live and develop a new value that allows you to see people for who they are and allows you to be able to live in a life amongst these people very cohesively. So for me, it's about how I make people feel about what they do, how I make them feel about how they live their lives, and about how they're going to leave a legacy, because this, I believe, is my legacy, and that's what makes me unique. So what is the advice that I can give to newcomers coming to Ras Al Khaimah? Is probably the advice that when I came to the UAE, I wish I'd known, because it took me a while for me to learn. And it's the advice now that they say, you know, what you know now, you wish you had known then. And that's probably what I'd like to tell all the newcomers is come with humility. Stay with intention. RAK may not be the flashiest of the Emirates, as many people might say, but it has something more. It has that enduring feeling. It has the peace. It has the tranquility. I believe, personally, for me, the word that I would use is that it has soul. Organizations like, for example, RAK, when you follow them, you'll be able to find the soul and the peace within people that is members and people that are part of RAK, as an example of just one of the organizations that I could mention. It rewards consistency, it rewards respect, it rewards purpose, because you align to the vision and the values of Ras Al Khaimah. So the advice I would give you is absorb that and learn to give even from what you have. Don't expect every deal that you go into, every business organization that you go into, that they just have to give. Understand that you would need to meet them halfway. That's what collaboration is, and I spoke about that earlier, is about building that connection with them. Be open to that connection. Be open when you go out and you visit organizations like, for example, RAK, or you visit organizations like the Chamber of Commerce within Ras Al Khaimah or within Dubai, any government organizations or anyone else who's got the vision and the values. Look at what you have and look at how you can align your vision and values to them. Because when you do that, you create consistency and you create growth together. Because I don't believe that every person is an island, that they can do everything themselves. There has to be collaboration. So consider working with organizations who are moving in that direction as well. The city is full of hidden gems, including people, not just places. So learn the culture, honor the land, and give, for example, more than you can take, as I've mentioned. If you're a woman, I know this, that you can build, you can lead, and most important, you can rest. Because many women are just doing and doing and doing. Ras Al Khaimah is a place for you to be able to relax. Take time out. Whether you're in Ras Al Khaimah or not, make sure that you take time out. I've learned the hard way. My health deteriorated because I just kept working and working and working. And I've learned the hard way to be able to say, I wish I knew then what I know now is that this needs to be looked after. My cup needs to be full before I can actually it needs to be overflowing, not even full. It needs to be overflowing so I can give from the overflow so that I still maintain who I am. So that's one of the things that I would highly recommend as a woman entrepreneur, is make sure that you fill your cup to such an extent that you overflow from it before you can actually give out. And if you ever feel lost, and if you ever feel the reminder of your why, that you don't have it, give me a call, give me a shout. We'll sit over a cup of tea. We'll sit over a wonderful steak at the grill house, and we'll enjoy and find out exactly what your why is. So if you ever feel lost, know that there's always, if not me, there's always someone in RAK who's able to have that with you. And that's the advice I'd like to give people. Thank you.